Prashant, and today we will be discussing like how we can use Entity Framework core in our ASP.NET MVC 2.1 core application. So, for using Entity Framework core, the first and the foremost important thing required is like we need to have a database connection. So, for creating a database connection, we need connection string in ASP.NET. So what I will do over here is like I will create a connection string over here, and I will just give it a default connection name. Let me give this default connection, right? So the variables that we require for this connection string is like I am connecting to my local database, so I am using dot, or you can use local as well. After that, I need to provide database name, that is going to be AspNet core to one example. So this is my database name. After that, I need to provide trusted connection. So I am saying trusted underscore connection is equal to true. Also, what we need to do is like we need to set this multiple active result sets to be true, correct? So let's remove this unwanted thing. So this is like the connection string that I have defined. So the database would be AspNet core to one example, which would be created whenever I want to like execute my application. So let's start by adding this to our starter.cs file. So over here we need to add a middleware. So I am going to say services.add DBContext. This should be taking some DBContext. So let us create our DBContext. I am going to say new folder model. Inside this model I am going to create a class, new class. This is going to be a application DBContext class, right? So once I have created this class, I need to use DBContext, which I need to import it using Entity Framework core. So once I have done this, I will create one constructor, and over here I will say DB context options, and in my base I am going to pass options, right? So this is all I need to do in my DBContext class for now. So after doing this, what we need to do is like we need to create some tables. So tables are just like models in our application. So what I will do is I will create a new class, and I will say, let's say student. Okay, so this student class is going to have a property, like first property would be ID. So this would be my primary key by default. Also, like I am going to have a name for this student, right? So once I have created this property. What I can do is like I can use this student model in my application DB context. Go over here and create a public data set. I need to import it using the model is going to be student, and the name of that uh, table should be students, correct. This is a property, so getter setter, right. So this is like missing some directive, so entity it should be using entity framework core. So dataset, or like I just misspelled it with dataset, this should be db set. So once I have added this db set, what I can do is like I am going to say add. I have just made sure that default project is selected. I am saying add migration initial. So this is like my first migration, so I am saying this to add a new migration. Okay, so builder has just failed, so let's analyze what happened. So in our startup.cs file, we have not yet added this application db context. So this is the actual cause, application db context. So that should be used from this model class. And over here I am going to say option goes to options dot use SQL server, which I again need to import it from entity framework core. And over here I am going to say connection or let's say configuration dot get connection string, and we need to pass this default connection over here. Let's close this. So now let's again try to run this application. So I'm trying to run this add migration initial. It should create a file. So now it's saying value cannot be null connection string. So let's go in our app settings.json file and see what is wrong. So we need to make sure that this is plural. So let's try to again run this migration. So now it has successfully created a migration file. So here we can see that it is trying to create a table with student's name, and it is also assigning some id and name values with id as the primary key. So just to reflect this in our database, what we need to do is like update database command needs to be run. So once I have started this command, you need to be very careful when you are giving names. So it's like it's saying me multiple active result sets, so I've just put extra O over there. So let's now run this command. So it will take a few seconds to run. So now if I go in my database, that is like, let's say I'm connecting with this local, and if I refresh my database over here, then I can find this AspNet Core 2.1 example, and I have got it students table with me with 2 columns. Let me show this to you. If you like this video, please subscribe it and hit the bell icon. Thanks for watching the video.